8/20/24 EDA is now in session. Call to order. EDA consists of 7 members, including 2 city council members and 5 members of the Dayton business community. The city of Dayton with businesses and or economic development with expertise, each with the interest of promoting economic growth and development in the city. I just want to read this call to order to everybody so that they get it. EDA shall have all the powers, duties, and responsibilities set forth by the Minnesota State Statute 469.090 to 469.1081. I'm looking for approval of the agenda. Does everybody got a win on that?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
I'll second it. Juan seconded it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda, item number 3. Did anybody get a chance to read the last minutes? All making sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
So for
Second.
Those,
Okay.
David and Sean? Did I get that? Okay.
Motion carries. Open forum.
Morning.
John, is there anybody online?
No.
Nope.
Okay, and there's nobody in the audience, so we're going to move through that one. Hi, Scott.
Morning.
Scott, I'd like to introduce you to our new council. Amanda Johnson. Scott Solak. Okay, open forum. Special item 740. Okay, introduction to Amanda Johnson, which I've kind of been doing the whole time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we'll try not to bother you too much on Christmas Eve and all that stuff.
Sounds great, thanks.
We'll keep it limited. If I do, I'm going to blame it on him.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Jack.
As always.
Introduction to Hayden Steinberg Planner. Stensgard? Stensgard, sorry. I didn't mean to chop that up too bad. So what do we got you for?
Land use applications, all your planning needs.
Oh my God.
So Hayden is our planner too. He started the end of July, I believe it was. So he's doing most of the or all the permit reviews for building permits and a lot of the planning items that are coming up. So he'll be attending the EDA meetings.
Yeah, I'll help John assist with EDA matters.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, welcome again to the show. I don't know if it's the big show, it is a show. Yeah. All right, action items. Were we done with number 5? We all good?
Yep.
Juan, you get to me? Okay.
Yep.
Approval of application for new EDA member. Has everybody had a chance to look at Mr. Anderson's intake?
Yeah.
Longtime resident, 32 years, 4 months, which is pretty accurate. I mean, it's dial it right in on that number. I wonder if you got minutes on there. And currently consulting, AES Electronic Technology. We know him from the shop where we work on his stuff. So he's a customer of ours. And, transparency. Pretty good guy. I've got no reason not to welcome him aboard. Let's go through each of the members here and make sure that we're on page. So we'll start with you, Dave.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It says he's consulting currently, so not actively running a business in Dayton. Is that correct?
Well, his business is out of his home in Dayton.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what you call it, his home.
He actually sold his business, but he's still consulting for them.
What Scott said.
Yeah, okay.
Good to go?
Sure.
John?
Yeah, I think, from what I can see, sounds like he would be a great fit. So I'm all for it.
The GTG? Jack?
What, I'm just curious, the ASA Electronic Technology, I mean, is that that he had that business locally and then now he's consulting on it? Is that?
And consulting, yeah. I believe he sold
Well,
the
he
company.
sold the company,
sold the
now
company.
he's consulting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he consults for more than just ASA, is from what I understand. Yeah, that'd be a question for him. Did he say he was coming in today?
I've not talked to him.
Okay. From what you see?
Yeah, I don't have an issue.
So is he semi-retired then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he has the potential to be a valuable asset, so I'm for it.
I think we can have some wisdom on this board, and we should have some guys who've been around a long time.
Right.
I mean, if it gets to the point where we need to flip a guy, then I guess one of us is going to be moving sooner or later. So why not build this team up?
Works for me.
What do we?
Green light?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Scott?
Green light.
Green light. So we need a vote for this, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I want to summon the guy to give me a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Dave Anderson as the EDA member.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Yeah, I did.
1 second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Welcome, Mr. Anderson. If you are watching, is he, can you tell if someone's on the website?
No. If they're on the website?
If they're watching through the link, the Zoom link?
We can't see who it is.
On Zoom, yes.
You can tell if there's someone on Zoom. Is there someone on Zoom?
There is not anyone on Zoom.
Okay. What answers that?
So that brings our total to 7
Yes,
members
We are 7,
with him.
5 and 2.
with him, yes.
Yeah, that's all I asked. You always make it so complicated.
Well, yeah. Business ain't easy, you know that.
I'm teasing you.
All right, that settles up 6A. Let's go to 6B, Cube's concept plan. Why don't you fill us in there, John? What's going on with that?
Sure. So as you're probably aware, so the Cubes is about 1 million square foot warehouse. It's been empty for some time. The owner has potentially a tenant that would take up half or the west half of the project, so roughly 503,000 square feet. They are known as Project Falcon. So we do not know Project Falcon. We do not know what the name of the business is. So their business doesn't want to be known.
Project Falcon.
Project Falcon.
Okay.
It is a business or a building supply company. They do require about 8 acres of outside storage, whereas the city code limits it to 20% or 2 acres, whichever is smaller. And so what the owner is asking for is to amend the planned unit development to allow additional outside storage. There's a couple of different options that they're looking at. I'm going to refer to option 1. The proposed outside storage is the purple area. They would be putting in outdoor storage where currently there's planned to be semi-truck parking, as well as I believe this is just passenger vehicle parking, and then this is a stormwater pond. So they would be filling in the pond and putting in underground stormwater storage, and then having outside storage above that. This is plan or option 1. Option 2 is to purchase 3 of the homes that are adjacent, and then to build the outdoor storage on those locations with an access onto West French Lake Road. I know that the project or the property owner has talked to the homeowners with, I'm going to call it probably mixed interest in whether or not they would like to sell. So that is why there's an option 1 and an option 2. All of this has happened pretty quickly within about the last week and a half, so that this is changing daily almost.
And John, do we know what they're storing outside?
Building supplies.
Like lumber and whatever?
Yeah, all I know is building supplies. So
Are they building trucks? Are they building homes? Are they building
I
aircraft
couldn't-
carriers?
I don't
What are they
know.
building?
Well, yeah, we're gonna need to know all that, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, seems kind of stealth.
Yeah.
Yes.
And stealth usually means not good, typically.
Is it flammable goods? Is it, I mean, you have
Sure.
what's being stored outside that could be,
So whenever it's not uncommon to have like I'm going to call it like a code word for a project. Usually that means that they're competing for multiple sites. And
Well, let's see if they can compete with something with more definition.
Yeah.
okay,
So I believe that we kind of need to know at least what type of materials are not given, tip in their hand. You know, it's not us to intervene in a third-party contract by no means. That we should at least listen to what they're going to store. This ain't enough information for us.
okay.
Concur?
I agree, yeah, we need to know what's being stored.
Dave?
Well, I certainly want to know more about it. The storage piece of it, I have some concerns about. Because we'd have to amend several city codes to allow this, correct?
Well, this would be as a planned unit development, so it's a little easier just saying that we're going to allow, you can put a number on there or a certain area. So if it's 8 acres, just spread out anywhere in the property, or if it's a specific 8 acres and then refer to the date of this map as an example. But I guess my question for you, and I understand there's not enough information, let's say whatever's being stored there is something you're okay with. Is there any special conditions that you would want to see?
Business runs itself. How would we know what they need in a business?
Well, what I'm saying, say, all I know is that it's building material. So let's say it's something that has minimal flammability and is acceptable to you guys. Are there any conditions that you would like to see with this?
Well,
Or any other concerns?
with option 1, the one you've got up on the screen, they're going to have to spend significant money on underwater storm water storage, and that's their deal to figure out. But I would think that they would need significant berming and screening if those houses are going to remain. If the houses are going, I don't know why they don't. Maybe they don't need it, but it seems wrong to leave that fourth one there as on just kind of an island by itself. And I would think it would give them better access to that other road to the north of them if they had that fourth property also.
Sure. And just to explain, these pictures are in the packet. These are the stormwater ponds that would be filled in and placed for used as outdoor storage under option 1. Under option 2, this is the far north home, and then this would be the far south home that's over here. So these are the woods that would be removed for outdoor storage under option 2.
So in option 1, they're completely within the current cubes
Property
plat or
boundary,
whatever.
yes.
Yeah. And in option 1, or no, that's 1, right? 2's the
Yes.
houses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So then they'd be buying additional property, and there's 4 houses between them and the
Correct.
road, or, well, the access road, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they would be looking at buying 3 of the 4, possibly 4. This fourth house just sold last week,
The fourth off at the top of the picture, or the bottom?
the middle picture.
Middle picture. So we don't have to worry about neighbors' consideration because they're buying them up.
No, they
Oh,
probably
no.
don't even know about this.
This
I
last
know
house, they did.
the new owner does, they do. I mean,
They do.
they've had conversations with the Cubes, from my understanding.
Good for them.
Other than the new owner, I've talked to them.
Well, it's a hell of a tax gig, and I don't see that we should be standing in anybody's way other than we need to know what they're, if they're storing rocket fuel, we should probably be on page with that.
Well, I do though, I see a couple issues with it.
Go.
One, I'm personally not really in favor of covering up natural stormwater. As far as the drainage pond and all that, I'm not a big fan of covering that up. 2, I think if we let them do this, there's gonna be other businesses that are gonna come and say, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah,
I already know
I agree.
I can tell you, I know a couple people in the area that they'll be in here right away saying, I want to do it too.
Mhm.
So that's another concern. And then also as far as the screening and,
It's a planning
is
thing.
it going to be, is the screening, are they going to be having things on pallet racks 20 feet high? And then, how do you screen that?
Yeah.
So all 3 of those are big concerns. The biggest one is that other businesses are gonna say, I can do it, I should be able to do it too.
What's the variances are for?
Yeah.
What's our official position here?
So this is a concept plan, so there's no vote by the EDA, it's just individual comments.
No formal action?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I have some similar concerns as Sean. And, I mean, I think, to me, the option to buy the houses would probably be the best, because we'll have the least problems down the road if the people agree. But I'm also, if I remember correctly, like, we got very little to no information about the whole Cubes project in the beginning. Like, we didn't even know, well, as I recall, we didn't even know what it was. We're like, well, what is Cubes?
You're right.
And
It's just a
they
building.
just, I mean, I know it's just a spec building, that's all it is. And so, that's a little concerning to me, just the way they operate. And I don't know what that means, because it's just been this massive building that's been sitting there empty for 2 years, right? Or a year and a half.
Yeah, they're still gonna pay taxes. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether it's occupied or.
Well, I understand, but, one of the conversations we had and, relative to planning when we get to that part is, maybe we're getting pretty close to our max in warehouses in the city. I mean, this one is here already, but then you throw the outdoor storage on top of it, which is another thing that people get concerned about. It's just
Well, let's ask
Those
that
are some
reciprocity
concerns.
question. Our council's here today. So if we were to nod our head and say, we got no issues here, it was John's input, do you think this would be a pickle herring for us down the road?
Are you speaking specifically to the ability of others to come in and say that they want the same situation?
If the other companies would want the same considerations of what we're doing here, yes. By filling in the wetland?
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Stormwater pond.
Stormwater,
Yeah.
so it's not wetlands, we don't have watershed to deal with.
Stormwater containment.
So what's your take on that?
Well, the stormwater ponds, provided that they meet the city's requirements in the code for stormwater treatment, if they want to do underwater, or, underground tanks versus a pond, that's their decision to make. That's not something that the city can necessarily mandate that they would do a pond versus the underground storage tanks, as long as they're meeting the city's requirements for water treatment, right? So as long as they're meeting the requirements for stormwater treatment, how they do that is ultimately up to them. In a PUD, and the reason that cities like PUDs is it gives you the flexibility to be able to go outside the parameters of your code, right? So you can have flexibility in this situation. It sounds like they're looking for flexibility with outdoor storage. But the idea behind a PUD is that there's a trade-off for that. So the city should be getting something for the modifications that they're making or the concessions that they're making related to city code. So if what they're asking for is an amendment to the PUD that is essentially asking for additional code flexibility, then the question back is, what are we getting for that?
Yeah. So the city code refers to a public benefit with a planned unit development. If the council's allowing deviations from the city code, how does the public benefit from those deviations for, we'll call it a better project that would be allowed under the strict zoning rules?
Qualify for a TIF?
No,
Not as this, no.
no.
I mean, the building's built, so the question really is the additional outdoor storage.
Did you got what she was saying about that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Juan?
Kind of agree with Sean. We need to know what's being stored out there and how, right? Outdoor storage is just such a broad term. You can have outdoor racking, you can have containers, you can have box slats. I mean, you could just have it scattered all over the place, right? So that's my only concern.
Okay.
We need more information.
Yeah, and I think some of the examples of current outdoor storage in the city are
Right.
not the greatest. I mean, there's some
Let's
pretty
not
good
go
guys
there
there,
yet.
so.
Scott, light me up.
I agree. I mean, to me, the code is saying 2 acres for the amount of building that's there. We're gonna give them 4 times that, but we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I've gotta know what it is, and I'm just not there. As far as, what's kinda curious is if they're willing to spend whatever it costs to fill in that pond, it certainly can't be cheap to do
Drainage,
an
not
underground.
pond.
It's
Drainage.
stormwater pond is what it is.
Is it drainage or bond?
It's a stormwater pond.
Stormwater. Yeah.
Stormwater.
Stormwater, okay.
It's not like-
And buy 3 houses, why aren't they renting the rest of the building? They could put it all inside. I have no idea what the numbers are, so that's neither here nor there. Before I would nod my head, I gotta know a lot more.
Is that enough information for you to take to the concept plan.
Yep.
Did we cover you? Okay.
Yes.
All right, next.
Okay, so next we have DCM Farms. So the EDA had reviewed this earlier, that we've had, let's see, when this project came through originally as the concept plan, the developer had 3 different options. Now there's one. There are no changes to the commercial and retail area. So this is intended for the EDA to just give a second look at it. So
Is this the one by Dean?
Dean's Country Manor, yep.
Okay.
Didn't we discuss this last meeting?
Yes.
What are we discussing today?
If there's anything you want to add to it. So I was saying that, so when this was presented before, there were 3 different versions of a concept plan, so now
Okay.
it's down to 1, but there are no changes with the commercial retail area.
Got it.
So the EDA was fine with this project when it first came through. There were a few comments of wanting this to be more residential in appearance and less, I'll say, less commercial or less franchise oriented, so being respectful that it's in the middle of the neighborhood. But that was kind of the summary of the comments that I remember hearing.
I do know we were tasked with sending Zach emails about what we thought. A lot of that happened in session. Did anybody else send emails to Zach about their thoughts on this section? Nobody?
I did not.
I mean, this drawing to me looks different than what we looked at. Is it the, like, are all those homes over there? That's
Yeah,
another development?
These are all homes. So this is the revised concept plan. So I can't remember what the count is. I want to say it's 250 some homes that would go in here. The various sizes. So, and then this
I'm
is
just
the
trying to
commercial
get-
retail.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all that's not there, because I know I drive by, it's just field, that's all
Right,
a-
yeah,
another
this is
proposed
just field.
development. Okay,
This is being constructed right now, or grading work is being done right now.
yeah. And then the stuff that's in color is future.
Yes, this is the project. So
Oh, I
then
thought
the-
that was the project down there.
Um,
All the
So
homes?
this is the commercial retail area,
Okay.
and then everything north of there is residential.
Oh, okay, so we never looked at all the residential that I recall.
Correct. So
Okay, that's what I was
Yep,
struck.
okay.
I was,
it looks new. Yep.
what we were showed was this little, down
The
here, that
triangle,
triangle, whatever
right.
that is, and we didn't see the rest of it, so that's why it looked so different to me. I'm like, what?
Sure.
We got a big picture now.
Yeah, no, but it's helpful to understand what the,
Do you have any changes that you want to bring up now? Because, I mean, input, decisions?
no, I mean, actually, I think that helps me with the whole project, is that those are gonna be neighborhoods.
So, green light?
Yeah, I don't really have an issue with it, and if nothing's changed from last time.
Green light?
Yeah, I said if nothing's changed.
Got it.
Nothing has changed.
Okay.
Nothing's changed, it's still green. We covered that? Anybody else?
Yeah, I guess we're just looking at the commercial piece.
Correct.
Here, so I don't have any comments there. I was more curious what they were doing with behind the homes along
Okay.
Frederick.
And it's up to city council to have them enforce the more neighborhood-like feel?
Yeah, so this will be a planned unit development, so similar to the conversation on cubes, is there's has to be a public benefit of why we're allowing deviations to the code. The deviations are really related to the residential part, not the commercial retail. And so questions for, the council and the EDA and planning commission are what are the public benefits? Something to think about is, the council has discussed what does rural Dayton feel like? This is a major corridor. The project to the south does have some pretty wide landscape buffers along Fernbrook. So using that as an example of being a public benefit is having more buffers along major roadways.
Yeah, to me, it's signage, it's all the things that go into, how does that integrate with these homes that are around there, since this isn't a commercial area, I mean, it's a
Right.
commercial oasis, if you will, in the middle of
Yes.
all these homes. And it just needs to me, it needs to feel and look like
Kind of both.
similar.
We're commercial around every residential. Where I'm
Yeah,
at.
but it was there before the residential ever came. It's been there 40 years.
400 years.
400 years.
All right, we all good on this?
Okay, so nothing new.
No opinion change.
Okay.
Staff updates, verbal, EDA budget, tentative.
Yes,
Who's
so
doing that?
we're still in the budget process. So we've had, I'm going to say 4 meetings with the council, I believe. So the staff's proposed budget for the EDA is $62,500. That includes $20,000 for real estate broker, $20,000 for legal, $5,000 for marketing, $2,500 for Elevate Hennepin County, $15,000 for miscellaneous items, so it's total $62,500. I think kind of the direction I believe the council is going is to use existing EDA funds rather than the $62,500 levy.
Then why are we creating a budget?
That's what we do every year. So every year, staff puts in their proposal of what we would like, and then council looks at it, and we kind of go back and forth.
Okay, so I'm confused with the fact that if we're going to use existing funds and we're not going to levy anymore, is that what we were talking about?
That's the way it sits today, yes.
What if we need to grow our account for things we're going to purchase and get set up for?
It's a good discussion point.
What if a frog had wings?
I didn't hear you.
My point on this is the budget was come up with by throwing a dart at the wall. You have no idea what you're spending on anything, what you're budgeting for, and you don't know if you're going to spend it anyway. So in my opinion, you're taxing for no particular reason. And I'm just not good with that. Until you come up with some money spent to show some history and what you might want. I mean, you don't know if you're going to spend $62,000 or $6,250 or zero at this stage in the game.
Well, you do though, because 3 or 4 of those items are set, right? I mean, the council,
No, they're not set. We don't know if we're spending $20,000 or $10,000 or $50,000 as council. There's no
but if we're
actual
gonna
number.
use them, you can estimate, like any budget you put in expectations of what you might do. I mean, it seems to me there's some things that are kind of more certain than other things, and
Well, on this
I mean,
budget,
I'd
there's
say
zero.
half of the 62 maybe is more certain. I'm not saying we should tax for it. I think at the end of the day, whatever money we have, if something comes up, we can go into the extra funds, right? Like,
We can do that for a while, but we can't do that every year.
right.
So
Because
as
we have
a
like
counterpoint
300
to
and some
that-
thousand? What's
No,
the?
It's more than that.
600 or something.
600, okay.
For 2024, you have a zero levy. So we're using, I'll call it reserve funds right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as a counterpoint to that, and remember, I'm one vote, Scott's one vote, so nothing I say matters. But I feel like this is the first year the EDA has put together a formal budget with some detail to it. And if these are projected operating expenses, then we should be covering them with levy dollars. So that's where I feel like it's at. But where we are with the budget is we're still about a mile apart from what's proposed and what people will be actually willing to vote to pass.
In
And so
terms of the
there's more
city count,
discussion
the
there.
city budget you're talking about?
The overall city
The
budget.
overall, yeah.
Right, and it all looks like taxes to me, so, what line item it goes to is the discussion, but the overall number has to meet something I can live with to vote for it, and we're not there yet. But I do think that this is a number that we at least have an estimate on, we'll know in a year whether that was right or too much or too little, but it's the first time a budget's actually been proposed And I think it should be levied for, but that's just my opinion.
Go ahead, man.
Well, I don't know, I'm not confused about it, I'm just taking it all in, because two different opinions from, and each has a valid,
Very valid point.
Valid point,
I
yeah.
get Scott's point, absolutely, and I also get his point. My point of the situation is, if we don't start preparing, when it comes time to have something, we won't have nothing. But operating budgets makes a very perfect sense, and yes, that dart is no different than the other department heads throwing the dart. They
No,
want to see
there's
it,
some
trying to do
his-
something, they throw it at the wall and say, I want this.
Yeah, there's some history on all the other departments. I mean,
Yeah.
we know what we spent last year,
Yeah.
and we know that we're gonna be spending that and possibly more in the future year. Here, we don't have a clue on where we're gonna spend.
Yep.
And there's a big reserve there. As far as if we need more, I'm not concerned about that, because you can do an interfund loan.
Well, we're going to go into closed session today,
Yeah,
and you might have a different opinion about that,
that's fine. Well,
just because of what we're going to talk about. And if we keep
fine.
getting zero, the big goose egg, I guarantee we're going to be zero. We need to make sure that we have something there. Again, in the budget process, we suck at it, plain and simple. And we're learning it. So, that's all I got to say on this. Anybody else want to chime in before we move on? Because there's no action here, right?
No,
No.
this is
Just
just
a conversation.
Yep.
I guess I'm gonna say, to some degree, we have to go through this year and see what we spend, which would, then next year would
Give us some history.
we can more accurately put together a budget, which then we could, if needed, levy for that budget money.
In the next year, you can, yeah.
Next year, yes.
I guess my only contrast to that would be the known items that you, and I know you say you don't know, but you do know on some things that you're going to spend something. And you need to put an estimate in on what you think you're going to spend on council, on the realty piece, et cetera. And then there's a, miscellaneous, whatever that is, 10,000 or whatever it is.
15.
15 now, and then reduce it by, come up with a better estimate than 62.5 and then levy for that portion of it. $30,000 on a levy is going to be .000 something, right?
Yeah, so I'll say we have operational funding, which that's the proposed 62,500. But I think, Tim, what you're talking about is when we're going to buy property, that's, hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Right.
not tens of thousands of dollars. That's not predictable as much. So that's where you do need money saved up to make purchases when there's an opportunity. You can't predict when there is going to be an opportunity.
Right. Okay, so we want to tell the council that, hey, we want to rethink this. Zero's not a win for us. Makes sense to you guys? Okay. Budget tentative 7, flower pots.
We have 2 flower pots that do not have a sponsor. So again, those are $200 a year. Thank those of you that have generously donated that for the year. But we have 2 others, so that's just more of an update.
Understood.
And those will just be covered out of the EDA budget if nobody steps forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Should we put the flower pots in the budget?
400.
Come on, Scott.
So a question, let's just say I don't know if this is possible or how it works exactly, but as an EDA, if we decide we want to sponsor the 2 remaining flower pots, we could take that money out of our...
Well, you are. You just
already
don't have
are.
to sign.
Well, wait, so do we get a sign? That's where I was going with it.
Okay.
If we're going to be
I agree.
essentially sponsoring it in the end, should we put a sign up?
Being EDA, officially sponsored by?
I agree, yeah. We
Well,
should.
so we're getting no action on it, so to Sean's point, it certainly is logical. But do we want to spend tax dollars on flower pots?
Well, you're not actually spending, the money's already gone. You already paid the
It's already
person to put
spent.
the flowers in them.
So-
There's just nobody's plaque on the pot.
How about we just
I
get
mean,
this off our books and not read it?
If,
Just
to me, if all of a sudden nobody sponsors the pot, and you want a plaque on it, go ahead and put a plaque on it. I mean, you're gonna spend 30, 40, 50 bucks for the plaque, probably. I mean, if it's a big deal to have a name on the pod, I mean,
Well,
money's already
it
gone.
shows EDA's doing something, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a plaque for $50. It didn't look like this.
I can tell you.
They look like they're $3.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why not at least get the EDA name out to,
So I mean, what we could do is just have a generic EDA plaque on every post, and then once it's sponsored, we take that down and replace it with a sponsored sign.
yeah, I think that's a great idea.
This require an action item here, or are we just talking?
I think I got my direction,
Alright.
so.
Moratorium prohibiting operations of cannabis businesses and cannabis cultivation businesses. Yeah, that's kind of a
I
thing.
don't know what that means exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna look, Hayden's more knowledgeable than I am on this.
Yeah,
Oh, he throws you under the bus, Jaden.
Mr.
The
President,
cannabis
members of
bus.
the EDA, yeah,
This is a state thing.
I think it's the next council meeting, the city council is going to consider this item. Basically, it's going to establish that it's going to prohibit until the end of 2024 establishment of businesses related to cannabis licenses, licensed through the state within the city. So they're currently in their rulemaking period, and they're hoping to have that tied up near the end of the year or shortly after into 2025. They'll be able to start issuing licenses, but the state basically gave the cities the opportunity to establish a moratorium while we create zoning rules and other things of the like registration process and whatnot. So that's currently what we're working on.
And so the moratorium is to say, look, we're not, as a city, going to issue any licenses until the state gets their act together.
Correct.
Basically.
In the meantime, we're writing our own ordinance where you can sell retail or retail shops.
Okay. And so there's multiple levels of the whole cannabis thing. So in full transparency, the liquor store in Dayton sells the beverages that have the
THC.
THC in them, but you don't need a license for that. But you have to be a registered operation, so to speak, in the state, which, is, so I just want to make sure that people know they're all different levels. I think this is talking specifically about cultivation and selling higher level cannabis products.
Yeah. Can I pop in for 1 second?
You, I've been watching you smirk. You go right ahead.
I have spent hundreds of thousands of hours on cannabis over the last year with my cities. So you're exactly correct. It's important to understand the distinction between hemp-derived edibles and cannabis products. So the state has and does treat those two things differently, which is why a liquor store can sell a THC-infused beverage because it is a hemp-derived product versus a cannabis product. We've differentiated that, and the reason for that, just a very, very high level, is on a federal level, cannabis is illegal, right? So you cannot transport it across state lines. We couldn't buy it from Colorado and ship it here. We have to grow it here, manufacture it here, and then sell it here. Differently are the hemp-derived products. Those are not federally illegal, and so those can be transported between state lines. They're just treated very, very differently, and so there is a lot of consumer confusion around the entire thing, but that is part of it. One of the reasons why cities are and have been putting in these moratoriums is technically a cannabis cultivator, a cannabis grower, somebody who would be growing the product, can get an early license to begin growing it. And before January of 2025, there's many, many hoops that they have to jump through. In my personal opinion, based on the hoops that they have to jump through, although it is technically legal for them to be able to get an early growing license, it is from a practical perspective impossible for them to be able to do that. But even so, this just allows there to not be some sort of non-conforming use that would be set up in the interim.
Well, you got to shorten that up for me.
So the moratorium is so that there isn't somebody who sort of sneaks in under the radar before the city's rules are in place. And then what happens next January is we have a situation where we potentially have a fight around legal non-conforming use.
Right. I mean, to me, it comes right down to, it's just basically saying, look, we're not going to issue any licenses as the city until the state buttons up what they want to do. Because the state doesn't know what they want to do yet on, I mean, they're still figuring it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we won't ever be able to license, so the state has preempted the city's
Right.
ability to license. The only option for the city is to register the businesses. And alternatively, you can give it to the county, and the county can do the registration. But the mechanism to regulate cannabis businesses for the city really is going to be through zoning it, or prohibiting it in certain zoning districts, making it conditional use. Using those types of tools are going to be how cities are going to do it. You can also limit, if you register, you can limit the number of retail shops.
How many cities are struggling with this in your purview?
Every single city.
What are they doing?
They run the gamut. Some are, we're calling it, you're either Utah or you're Las Vegas. So some cities are very much of a, it's very much an open market, and they want to encourage it. And there are other cities where they, if they could be a dry city, they would. We can't under the state statute. But I think it's important to know that there are license caps that the state has put into place. So the reality is the amount of licenses that are actually going to be issued is going to be rather underwhelming. So just from a statistical perspective, is a city like Dayton going to be getting 5 shops? No, they're just not,
yeah.
because there isn't the licenses at the state level.
Well, 5 legal ones. There was a time in Dayton where the police were chasing a lot of guys around here without licenses. Let's say it that way. Okay, well, thanks for the clarity on that. And I seen your face light up when you started talking about it. I went, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know a lot.
Unfortunately. Any other questions on that, guys? I mean, as an EDA, we don't have an opinion yet because they don't have an opinion.
Right, 2 comments. I think the council already passed the moratorium at
Yes.
the last meeting. It
Oh,
goes
okay.
until January 1st, so this is more news than weigh in. But the one thing that also went along with it, and the only reason I didn't object more strenuously is because there isn't going to be any, but there was an amendment to the fee schedule, and I think anybody who's interested in being in that business ought to take a look at that fee schedule and make some comments about it, because the way it's written, we're treating the fee for what I would call off-sale cannabis products like an on-sale liquor store. And so the fee for a license to do that is, I think, way out of whack with what we should be asking for.
And who's charging that, us or county?
The city.
City.
I mean, it's sort of a catch-22. It's a ridiculous fee, but you can't get a license anyway, so nobody's going to pay it.
So it's
But I
more
think-
like a liquor license for a bar fee?
Correct.
Versus.
Same as.
Yeah, same as.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Which
Whereas
is-
off-sale
was
is
that-
like $200 or something for a liquor
I think it's
store.
100. And
Yeah.
then cigarettes
And a bar
like
is
200.
like 3,000, and the cannabis one was the 3,000, and I don't think those two things line up.
We also have the ATF driving that bus too. We don't have an ATF for pot, for cannabis.
Okay,
So the ATF is regulating a lot of that for licenses in states and federal, right?
well, these are
For-
fees the city would
Yeah, for
charge.
like you get a state liquor, so the city fee is just a fee on, I mean, the state's pretty small, but you gotta have a state liquor license. And then the city just gives you, kind of endorses it and charges a fee, right? More, I mean, they could stop it, obviously, but the license is actually, I think, well, it's actually issued by the city, but the state gives you the buyer's card, I think, which you can't do anything without a buyer's card.
Yeah.
Well,
So
let's
we
see where
look
this
at
lands.
fees every year.
It is
Anyway, in
is.
January, so this will come up again, but I think as it sits, there's a kind of a tilt there.
From an EDA directive, it's tax dollars, it's a business. I mean, if we're gonna start picking who, what, and how, and who, I mean, I get it, but it doesn't probably fit our narrative as
Pro-business.
people, Christians, whatever, your group is, and you don't wanna sell hemp products or cannabis products, but yet, there are a lot of things that people disagree with, and we should have the flexibility, the freedom to make that choice too. I do know that ETF looks pretty down on it as an ETF agent, dealer. It's on their 4473 form, and it says if you are, and you will not receive a 4473. So that's a gun purchase. So I guess, we'll see where council goes with it, see where state goes with it. I think we've had a discussion enough. I mean, your insight on the two state level, county level, and city levels.
Yeah, I mean,
valuable.
the liquor licenses and all that, and the states and the Fed they're all, the Fed's not involved in a retail liquor license. They get involved in manufacturing and stuff like that, so.
Well, aren't you a manufacturer of wine?
Yeah,
So you have the ATF to do it.
I do, yeah.
Well, that's another tax. Well, again, it's good to get your perspective on this, and I appreciate the fact that we can now hear about this. And maybe some EDAs or some cities don't have a on-sale, off-sale guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other updates, so Tuesday, August 27th, we have a workshop with the City Council and Planning Commission for the master plan. We'll have, I believe it's 3 options that will be presented, and then council and commission will be asked to choose one of those. So related to the EDA, I guess one of those discussion points is, do we have enough industrial, or should we have more of it? I don't know if the EDA has an opinion. I'm going to assume so, because I've heard it so far today.
It's almost like a Facebook poster. You're sending this out there and you want to see who bites on it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you guys talked about this at the last meeting. Did we discuss at all having an EDA member as part of that?
You all can be
Work
there. I mean, this is a public meeting, so.
Okay. So it's a work session, but a public work session.
Right. Just like this is a public meeting.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Good there?
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right, Parkway Neighborhood EAW.
So I don't have it pulled up on the map. So this is the Roebuck property in the southwest corner of Dayton, so west of 94.
You said
West-
this property, Grover?
Roebuck.
Grover.
So this area down here. So the developer is proposing, I believe it's 650 units of a apartment buildings, several different buildings, but a total 650 square feet, or 650 units. There'd be a small commercial area along Dayton Parkway that would include a gas station and some other retail. I want to say it was somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 square feet total, so not a very large area. They're in the process of completing an environmental assessment worksheet, or EAW. That is a lengthy process. Right now it's in the public comment period through, I believe it's Thursday or Friday. And then staff and our consultant will review those comments, and then this will be developed or come back to the council and the planning commission as a preliminary plat. So again, for this project, the total amount of units is 650 units and right around 10,000 square feet of retail and a gas station. The retail gas station part is not in phase 1. This is going to be done in several phases. It might be, I'm going to guess, maybe 10 years to build out. So it'll be going for a while. But first phase will be 1 apartment building. So that's just an update for you.
It's a good location.
Define the EAW.
Environmental assessment worksheet. So it's probably about a 500-page document that looks at everything from air quality to water quality to soils and different pollutants. It's very, very extensive.
And they have to do it on that piece because of the topography?
No, it's a change in use. So because, well, I should say there's 30-some different categories where you might be required to have an EAW. In this case, it was because the number of housing units that are going in. The DCM Farms that we looked at earlier, that will also be an EAW because it's a change in the comprehensive plan. So in our comprehensive plan, that whole area is guided as low-density residential, but because the developer wants to do some retail in it, it triggers the need for an EAW.
So it's not the fact that it's a change to the comprehensive plan, it's a change to the,
It depends. So with DCM Farms, it's a change in the comp plan that triggers it. For this one, it's the number of units. So in this case, I think if it's more than 375 units, then they need an EAW, which they're almost twice that.
okay.
You have a West Territorial Municipal Water Extension.
Yeah, so also at the last council meeting, so we have, this is Dayton Storage. This was approved, I'm going to say it was 2021, but I'm not 100% positive on that. Self-storage business, it was approved. Building code requires that it have a fire sprinkler system. There's no water available, and so the only way to put in a fire sprinkler system is with big water tanks. The builder or the developer has come back and said, is there another option? And we've looked at this, and the council has approved to extend municipal water down West Territorial, from Odessa down to this location. The estimated cost for that is about $450,000, and the developer is paying for this. So, and this is going to benefit all the properties that are along Territorial will be able to hook up to this.
Dave, you're kind of the water guy. What's your thought on that? I mean, kind of a win for us?
It is. It's a win for the city. It's a win for the developer because they were, by fire code, required to have a fire sprinkler system for that storage facility, which was because there was no city water available. They were going to have to drill a well, have storage, and we'll spend a lot of extra money to make kind of a standalone fire sprinkler system for that area. So with this option, they're able to connect to city water, eliminate a lot of that extra work related to the fire system. And it also benefits the city because we've now got
Revenue
city water
source.
farther down that road. I'm sure we'll make a little revenue off the water sales to this guy, but hopefully the fire sprinkler system never goes off, so that's not really part of it. But the availability of water is a plus for us.
Where's that water come from?
Maple Grove.
Oh, so we buy that water and we resell it to these guys. Interesting.
Yep.
That whole part of town. It's Maple Grove water.
Any other issue comments on this, guys?
It's just water, not sewer.
Correct. So there's no bathroom here, so they do not need sewer. Everyone else, I shouldn't say everyone else, but assumably as this area redevelops, we'll need sewer also.
Good? Okay, moving on. Number 8.
And Tim, I've got two other items that I didn't write in the agenda. So Hennepin County has what they're calling it the CEO Next program. So this is pure learning for small businesses that have between 10 and 99 employees and more than $1 million in revenue. So it is, I believe it's a free program that just helps, puts business owners in contact with others and let them learn from each other.
Charlie Papa Oscar. CPO?
CEO.
CEO.
Yeah.
CEO Next.
CEO Next.
That's through Hennepin County.
Yes.
And when does that start? Or is it?
I can get information to you. So offhand, I do not remember.
Is it a starting and finishing program, or is this just an ongoing, we want to be part of it, or how do we fit into this?
I'll send you more information. So yeah.
Okay. And you said the second thing.
Yep. So the council at the last council meeting reviewed a draft EDA enabling legislation. So I believe the EDA has talked about this a couple of times. Is that when the EDA was formed, well, I shouldn't say when it was formed, but when it was added on to it was not done by written resolution, it was just a voice direction. And so this was, the city attorney had put together a kind of a revised enabling legislation that explains what the EDA's job is and what you have control over and not control over. So this is in draft form, it was reviewed by the council. The last meeting, it'll go back to the council, I'm going to assume on the 27th, but I don't know that for sure.
And this form is available?
I can send it to you. So it was in the last
I want
council
you to send her a
packet.
copy of this.
Sure. And that
And this
is,
is the resolution from the city council to
City attorney.
city. Well, yeah, but doesn't the city council have to vote on it or no?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that covers that. Did that finish you up on it?
that finishes me up.
Okay, resolution. Next EDA meeting will be Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 7:30 a.m. If those who want to attend, I see Amy's on. Is that what she is?
So Amy is our clerk.
Yeah, but she's on.
This is
Through Hayden.
the Zoom.
It's Hayden Amy.
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say hi to Amy. All right, so pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D subsection 3C, to develop and consider offers on counter offers for the purchase, sale of real estate, personal property to the following. We have a PID on our internal. I wanted to tell our camera guy to shut the film off. Is that what we want to do?
Yes,
You gotta
and
go
I think if you
close.
could just read the PIDs.
Got to read the PIDs?
Yeah.
PIDs 36-21-23-41-0021. Next PID is 36121, 23-41-0010. Next PID is 36121, 2341, or 23-41-0011. Next PID is 36-121, 23-41-0012, and 36-121, -23-41-0020. Those are the PIDs on Section 9 of the closed session.
Thank you. And we'll need a moment to switch the audio over and then we'll start. So.
Statute 13D subsection 3C, we are now out of our closed meeting. And number 10, adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, second?
I'll second.
Approved?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, guys.